This meeting is being recorded.
Okay, so basically I had some issues with SDC since few minutes. I've updated it to the this latest Frankfurt one due to these patches that came that were merged by Ophir today and yesterday, so that the CBA would be classified correctly, and also this distribution bug should be gone. But actually, well, not sure why, but it didn't really work, and now I can't seem to be able to access portal at all. If I don't know if you could check if you can start portal, I'd be grateful.
Let me
I'm not
check on my side.
In the meantime, I'll check this one. Okay, I'm not sure if it's just me, but my screen froze. Guys, am I still on call or did something bad happen on my side?
No, we can hear you.
Okay, so I think I'll have to probably terminate Firefox as my PC is barely working, so just a moment.
It's still very early here, Conrad.
Okay. Well, something's bad happening with my PC, I think. Okay. Now I can at least see my screen. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. Sorry for these issues, but I'm not sure what's going on here, but
So Conrad, I'm also having problems with accessing portal, so I'm gonna just bounce the pod. Okay.
okay, sure. So in the meantime, I'll just handle the other thing I wanted to. So, well, so it looks like this change that has been merged to Frankfurt is not yet released as an image. So I wasn't able to, let's say, without workarounds, process with onboarding and distribution in SDC. So I'll make a hack again to make it working. Okay. So from this side, it's done. Okay, okay, because you've bumped the pod, so it's spinning up. Okay, I think it's fine now.
So this is the old version of SDC, or you deployed an image, but it doesn't have your fixes.
So I've tried, I mean, this is this 164 version that was deployed in original SB00. I've then changed it to 1.6 latest because I expected the patch to be there, but I didn't see any improvement in this 1.6 latest. So probably either it didn't count into the image, or the image is tagged some differently. So I just rolled back the previous version and
Okay.
to have it at least stable working. Well, I had some strange issue. Actually, you can probably see it even here now. So when I was trying to certify basically this is the onboarding I've tried on this newer image, and finally it throws me some strange error. So I'll just, unless it will work now. Okay, so now it's
Hi everybody. I could join. So
Lucas, welcome.
hi. You start from the scratch from the beginning?
Not really. I was fighting with updated SDC and it didn't work as we would expect. And later on, I rolled back. Then the portal crashed, and now I'm back here. So, well. So okay, I think we can continue. Basically, I've tried this new image, Łukasz, just to let you know, and it seems like this fixes either didn't come into this image or they were not.
But you have updated the particular image in the installation?
Yes, unless we have.
We need to be sure which image we should update, I think.
So
maybe this is not a backend like we thought initially.
Yes,
I think we need to ask of you.
Okay, so nevertheless, let's not waste time on it.
Yeah.
I'll just have to bump service to use this newer CBA I've created. So I can't find our service. What was the name? Okay. So okay, so I create a new one. I don't know why, but it disappeared. So.
Yeah, if you redeployed SDC, then it would erase it. But yeah, create a new one.
Okay. So I'll create on the basis of this old package. Oh well, I can actually use the new one, but I think the distribution won't work anyway due to this bug. So vFirewall, what was our previous name? CNF CDS demo. Let's call it differently. It already exists but can't list it. Perfect. Okay. So let's reuse the old one.
What about the name of the Helm chart? You changed it already?
Name of the service in Helm chart. Yes, I've changed it, but as distribution won't work anyway, I'll have to put manually
I see what you're
upload
saying.
the Helm chart again. So
You'll do it into multi-cloud itself. Okay.
yes.
The fix for the distribution was already merged, Konrad, or not?
Yes, today morning. I mean, yesterday it was merged. I think yesterday it was merged to master, and today into Frankfurt.
Today when?
Ooh,
If you know, because the build of the SDC
I
is
would need
around
to
11 a.m. our time.
It was probably earlier, but anyway, Ophir issued some command in the reply section, so I think he triggered the okay, maybe later I check it.
Okay, I will also check it offline.
You can check it via this Jira ticket, and then it's
Yeah, I will do it.
Let's see if it's already distributed. Not yet. Okay, anyway, the distribution happens in the meantime, and I can bump the service name. Make this typical queries. I'll just check if the UIDs are the same as previously or they changed. So base template is 12. It looks similarly. EAC for the version and CC for the base, that's right. FE, FAF, 6E5C, and CD37. Yes, okay, so great. Wait, it's a different, still this old one? It's vFirewall CNF CDS test, but it should be firewall CNF CDS demo. Okay, because it's a VNF, so that's right. The VNF has the same name. Okay, so let me check the distribution. I think we have more than one artifact, right? Yes, there is this. I can see scar artifacts. Oh, perfect. So it happened. Great. So let me check multi-cloud. So we have vPacket cam. It's empty, right? And vSync is also should be. And the base and vFirewall wasn't changed, so they should have the packages. Okay, perfect. Okay. This is for vSync. Okay, so it should be fine now. Let's check it then. Let me also see if I've cleaned up the QD. I have some leftovers, so I just remove it and we can go on. So okay, and let's roll back the missing. So we have full instantiation now with with all 4 VF modules. So VF module 3, 2, 1, and 0. Right, sorry, this unique entity. Let's see CDS in the meantime.
It's moving.
Okay, that's great. Just wanted to ensure if we're calling the new template 1045, but I guess we should just a sanity check. Can we see what version of template was called in the log? Oh, nevertheless, we will see. It got stuck on some VF module. But for sure not in CDS because it looks like it ended the flow. So CD has been done and CD is vFirewall. Well, it got stuck somewhere. I'm not sure, Yuri, if you think it's good to kill BPM and pod once again and see, or
Let's give it 5 minutes. It's probably SO, the usual SO suspect, but we can let's see. Let's give it a few minutes. If it doesn't proceed, we'll kill the BPMN pod and redo it.
okay, sure.
Well, the same issue was yesterday. Do you know what
Uh,
can be the reason of such behavior?
I think it's just the setup that we haven't, with Maria to be an SO. I reported this issue back as well. We don't, at least in the AT&T side, we don't see that. It's some probably infrastructure setup issue.
Just wanted to check one more thing in the meantime. Okay, maybe let's leave it. So okay, at least SDNC works. So I wanted to see which VF module got stuck. Maybe in SDNC I should be able to get it. Their database.
I did the last thing I did was vFirewall.
Yes, but I'm not sure about the order. What I mean, at least base is first, but not sure about the order later.
It did VSN, vFirewall, and the base.
So
It
vPacket
did
again is the last one.
VPKG was also done.
Was also done.
Yep.
So that's all.
I think it should be doing create.
But well, let me go back there. It assumes it's doing assign still. Well,
Let me check
I have access to the Camunda cockpit.
to the monitoring page or
Camunda cockpit, or I don't know how to use SO monitoring. I don't think we have it in the AT&T side.
well, there was.
I have access to it.
So maybe you can check. I'm not much aware of SO internals and how to see what's going on inside. Aside from using SO monitoring, that is now not so trivial. So okay, maybe I'll search for this.
Okay. Can you check again? If not, let's just kill it and redo it.
Still, it's hanging. So yes, let's kill it probably.
All right. I'll issue the bounce. Okay.
Okay, sure.
Okay. The bounce is issued.
Okay, it's running. So let's start news from scratch, right?
Yeah. Just send the runtime request, right? But it's you got to give it a minute because it says it's running, but it's.
Ah, right. Okay. So let's see via this API if it's. Oh well, the old one revived.
I did. So
I mean, well, it's
okay.
went
Okay.
further.
Track that one then.
Well, I'm not sure what's happening here, but if it will, well, so it takes too long for create VF module, so I expect some issues.
Yeah, nothing has been created, it seems.
These are logs from today. Well, there was post with 400. So what's going on there? Completed, but well, okay. It claims it's completed, so let's see. Well, so it actually went successfully. Well, let's see in the Kubernetes plugin as well. But if we can see it on the managed Kubernetes, then for sure it ended successfully. The logs are misleading sometimes, but so yes, we have this time all 4 VF modules, and we can see the we can see them in the managed Kubernetes. So, well, these two are pending and will probably pen for a bit because they have to download the VM. So it will take them a bit more time to start, but basically everything is in place. So do you want me to start with the second instantiation? I mean, this with templating, or do we want to check something?
Sharon, here, did you guys have questions here on this stuff?
That list of the resources that you queried for, Conrad, can you copy paste that one? Yeah, this one. Yeah, can you? And let's that
Okay.
and so we can see the difference afterwards between the two requests.
Sure. So.
Yeah. So my question was, what's the difference between what we did just now and what we did yesterday?
So yesterday, as I had, so what are the differences, right? So basically, yesterday I couldn't instantiate the whole VNF because we have these two services here, and they had too long suffix so that the whole name was longer than 63 characters, and that was not conforming to some well, policy of Kubernetes of the name of the services, that they should be at most 63 characters long. So this MGMT was management, probably management as far as I remember, the suffix, and here it was, I don't know if user interface, but something longer, and basically this made it impossible to instantiate both vpacketgen service and, sorry, not service, well, service that is a part of vpacketgen VF module and vsync VF module. So this time it's full VNF with all 4 VF modules instantiated.
Gotcha.
Conrad, I think you only pasted a subset of this information. Can you just look at what you?
Okay, sure, yes.
What came up on the chat is like maybe truncated, or maybe you can put it in an email or something.
Let me see. Oh yeah, yes, it's truncated. Okay. Well, yes, I can. Or do you prefer chat or email? How is it better for you?
Maybe email. Let's
Okay.
be the simplest. You can reply to all. Yeah. Perfect. Thank you.
Okay, so I'll just keep it in the notepad now. I will send it in after.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Thanks.
Hey, one question I had, Conrad.
Yes.
Why? I see that we didn't wait for the pods to come up. Is the plan like? Because we just said it's successful, right? But we're not waiting for the status to be running. Is there a plan to make sure that everything's running before we proceed to orchestrate all the, all the pods and deployments?
Okay, so I'm not sure if there are plans regarding it, but basically this is the same behavior that Helm has. So, and basically even hit templates work similarly. So even hit after instantiation, after it's pinned up all the resources, so the VM, it doesn't check if the whole, let's say, cloud init phase was successful. It just creates resources and then it's done. The same goes for Kubernetes and Helm. So it ensures that he created, and actually he creates a deployment, not a pod. So he create deployment successfully, and all the other resources, and then it reports success. So probably, well, technically it's possible, I think, but I'm not sure if anybody was thinking about implementing it. But such waiting capability is also not present in the VNF case, as far as I remember.
So I guess as part of the, let's say, the Tech Mahindra work that they're doing, right? If they provide some status there of the pod, then we would know the running state of it, right? If it's running
Yes,
or
Well,
as I understand
so
it.
far I understand the changes that are well, they are not finalized. That's the first thing, because as I have sent you this Jira ticket, there are still pending changes which are not accepted for Frankfurt. But anyway, the information about the pods is only this after the instantiation, so not the update of the status or anything, right? Just what we have just after.
Yes, but I think if this monitoring API would query for the pods and put them into AI SV servers, then this information would be more or less, I think, what Yuri expects.
We can guess at the moment.
Yeah, we can guess. I didn't check it, but at least if it's not, then probably that's the place where it can be improved. There will be some basis for it.
Very good. So, Alice, do you have any questions here as well? You see the pod services, node ports, right? Config map information.
Still pending.
Can you sorry, Konrad and Lucas, can you just clarify again when we are querying for the instantiated resources in Kubernetes? Can you know for sure that is there a status that tells you that the status is complete for those for all the resources, that you know for sure those are the resources that has been instantiated?
Well, this is on the multi-cloud plugin side. We should check on how this instantiation process looks there, but I don't think it is waiting there for all the resources in the running state.
It's ensuring the same success state that Helm would bring if Helm chart instantiation, I mean, Helm install was successful, because it's driven by this engine.
Again, perhaps this is this could be a bit maybe implemented further, as we can use the config assign and config deploy operation, perhaps to verify the state of the installation of these resources, and perhaps to complete the config deploy operation with the verification that all the resources are up and running with the use of the APIs for the monitoring, like Konrad said. But this is something that we don't have at the moment, right?
But
Yeah,
well,
okay.
I think that
have that, so it's
technically, I think there is some possibility, because SO, after issuing this instantiation call to multi-cloud, it then makes a call get query to see if the stack, because he treats everything as stack, but if stack was created. And for now, Kubernetes plugin doesn't have any logic for checking if the stack was completed. So namely, if the instantiation request was successful, then the stack is also meant to be successful. So probably there we could just, if it's agreed with the Kubernetes plugin team, we could implement such checking on this second endpoint. Technically, I think it's possible. I mean, it's possible to put this into the whole flow, but it would need to be assessed, I think.
Okay, thank you.
Conrad, one more question. How did you get to this specific prompt itself for issuing the commands, the kubeconfig commands?
So,
Do you need to exec into the multi-cloud component to do this?
but do you mean this view I have here, or the Postman, or what is it?
just log into the deployment we know spawn in the OpenStack. So there is no way from ONAP to or multi-cloud to access this automatically. I
To access what? Because I'm not sure if we if I understand you.
This view here, right?
Cube.
Okay, so
Element.
well, so this is my
You
my
can-
PC. It's not inside the either the OpenStack or the QD or anywhere. I've basically created 2 days ago this QD cloud. I've downloaded from there the kubeconfig, and now I'm just using it for the configuration to kubectl to well to see this cluster. I mean to operate on this cluster.
Any machine you can access it. So
Okay.
our functionality doesn't. I don't know if it's leaving. That Kiev config is in the multi-cloud probably, but I don't know if it's usable as for the operator.
Yeah, it would be, if we can get access through multi-cloud, I think it will be probably a good idea to include that as part of the documentation. So this way we don't need to do anything outside of the ONAP set of projects. But yeah, this is good. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, so thanks. Well, so I guess I should go on with this second instantiation maybe now, but I'm not sure if the VM is big enough to handle so many VMs. So, well, in worst case, they won't fully instantiate. They will be locked by the amount of resources. But I think I can start the second instantiation. Or I can test the removal. Actually, it worked for me 2 times, but today it didn't. So that's a rolling dice, but maybe it will work. I mean, removal of a service via SO.
The question to Amir because he wanted to see both in the same time to compare.
Okay, so I can remove the first after I instantiate the second. Or
yeah, let's try and if there will be problems, we can always do it.
So what's the second instantiation that we're doing right now?
So the second instantiation is utilizing this profile templating we have in CBA. So we provide specific parameters, or actually, okay, these ones are to be removed. So actually, we don't provide some. Well, maybe Łukasz, you can describe it maybe better, and I'll in the meantime.
So for the second instance, we provide, or maybe in another words, in the CBA package we have one profile template which is not a default one. So here Conrad will specify the name of this profile to be used, and the CDS will upload this profile to the Kubernetes multi-cloud plugin. And apart from that, the CBA, the script in the CBA also will modify the content of this profile by adding extra resource, and this is the SSH service. And there is the decision whether to add the SSH service or not to the profile, which will be uploaded, is taken based upon of the number of the SSH port which will come from the input, so from the instantiation request. So having this parameter from the request, the script will modify the content of the profile which template is inside of the CBA. We'll create a new profile instance and we'll upload it to the plugin, and then this profile will be used for the instantiation of the whole instance in the Kubernetes, and this will result with one extra service, SSH service created on Kubernetes in comparison to the first instance.
So in the first one, we didn't provide a profile in the input?
We provide the name, which is the default name.
Okay.
But I think we could even skip this name because by default, the name default is used. It means the default profile created for the definition.
Well, actually, by default, not the default is used, but this one.
Okay, there is another
custom
name.
one. Yes, yes.
Okay.
So
Okay.
that's why in the first I override the profile name to be default, as you can see here. Sorry, not here. So I override to be default, and then we take a default from CBA. So I think it's a bit overcomplicated here with what default is default, but well, anyway, I think we can go on with it and see.
And sorry, just repeat again, the profile is uploaded by CDS or by SO?
By CDS today.
By CDS, okay.
Okay, so let's try.
But we could change that, right?
Well,
So that SO is...
there is a plan of more serious changes related to the CNF implementation, with the much bigger involvement of the SO in this process. So, yes, this perhaps would be a part of this.
Okay.
But with this version, previously there was only nobody automatically created this profile. It was manual fully, and it's still possible to do manually. But with this use case, it is automated.
So, well, I make the this list you wanted so that you can compare later. So now we have, of course, double the VF modules, but anyway, I'll copy it and send it later.
Thanks.
And back to the Kubernetes, we can now see double the stuff probably. Yes. So okay. So aside from this, this some default pod that was running, we have all the new ones doubled. What else? We can see. Okay, here we can see this custom service that came from this profile we've used. So I'm not sure if you're aware of how. Well, actually, we can make some demo and connect to it, but vPacketGen is still pending. Well, I'm worried if actually the virtualization add-on loaded correctly if all the VMs are pending still. I'll just check it, but nevertheless.
Oh, you gave it a custom port this time, right?
Yes, so basically I've provided custom port for this previously defined services as well. So there was this 31831, so we can see it. Not here. Sorry, not here as well. So I've provided custom ports for the vSync service. So previously it was the default one, so it was 30, 66, 66 and 7. And also the same for the default service for the vPacketGen, but now you're creating yet another one service, and we've provided some additional value here that was templated by CBA actually. So this one is handled by Kubernetes plugin, because in a Helm template we expect set value, and based on it we decide about the node port of service, and this one is templated by just CBA, and we pass the raw template to Kubernetes plugin to instantiate. I'm not sure. Maybe you want to see some internals of it, so I could switch to CBA, so you can see how it looks like.
Yeah, sure. That'd be great.
Okay, so aside from all this logic in script, so basically the script has more or less this logic that when it creates the profile, it extracts this targz with a pre-created profile. I can. It doesn't contain anything specific, but I can show you. So it basically contains just a manifest and override values file. I think it's empty or has some dummy value, but nothing relevant there. And it takes this SSH service template and templates it to put as an additional file to this profile, and then packs it again. So the template and mapping looks like this. So we have only one particular parameter, this vPacketGen management port. And well, once it's provided, we template it here. So it's a VTL syntax for templating this value, but all the other ones, well, are still in this Helm manner. So once they are read by Kubernetes plugin, it will template the values inside, just like for any other Helm template earlier. So we combine here like double templating.
I see. So for this specific service, CDS is templating that and then putting it into the YAML file here. And then for the other one, where the Kubernetes plugin is going to template just like Helm.
Yes, so right. That's the only example where CDS templates the profile and it uploads it as well. In other cases, it's all on in the hands of Kubernetes plugin to template it with this Helm module or this Helm logic, let's say. Okay, so I don't know. Well, yeah. So, well, unless you have any questions, I'll just check what may be wrong with these pending pods, because it would be great if they would actually spin up. But, well, I'm open for any questions in the meantime.
Conrad, can you just show us one example of the, of the config map, maybe?
Yes,
or,
sure.
Yeah.
So,
Our service, like, just so that we can take a look at it. Thank you.
yeah, sure. So, well, config map will probably be one of the better sources, as it's quite tidy. So, let's take, for example, the packetgen one. Sorry, forgot to get. So this is the config map for a vPacketgen, for example. Well, the labeling is almost the same all across the same VNF, so we can see the same labels used. But as for data, okay, DC collector IP and port, this is something dummy. So far we didn't populate it, so it's basing on the default values. But later on we can think about correcting it so that it will be dynamically provided and visible also for the CNF. Well, the same goes for the demo artifact version, but at least these three are not hard-coded. These are extracted from both. I mean, these two IP addresses are taken from Netbox, from this IP assign capability in SDNC, and also this CIDR is retrieved from this SDNC database, as far as I remember, where we store the one that is correlated with the Netbox.
Right. So one question, remember yesterday we had the VNF ID, VF module ID as dummy IDs, right? Did you change anything in the heat, or you just made the Helm chart changes?
So I didn't, well, actually I've changed in the heat just the services to have the shorter suffixes so that it will work. But in the meantime, I've made a small cosmetic change in the heat files so that, sorry, for example, vsync YAML. So I've trimmed it so that it doesn't have any unrelated parameters. It just, well, so it's as short as possible. And regarding this VNF name, I think I'll need to create a ticket to handle it. I think it's this VNF name is lost somewhere by the SO, as I said yesterday. I didn't dig much into there because it's quite a bit of logging happening there, and it wasn't that critical. But well, so that's the scope of changes I did. Basically, I've modified slightly this heat file so that now they are really dummy. I think it's the dummiest form as
Looks
possible.
much better. You did the same for ENV, and I'm assuming, right? And within the resource, if you scroll down, it's only these three parameters, right?
Yes, so it's this dummy heat resource, and it's relates. Actually, I could even not use these properties probably, but just to make.
That's what I wanted.
Yeah. So well, it happens that it works. So that's great. We could remove all these parameters. So probably okay. I onboarded this new. Well, this new VSP, so probably it can be visible also in SDC that we don't have these parameters anymore. Because as far as I remember, they could be seen here. So this is based on the new heat, and yes, it's much tidier. Let's compare it with the other VF. So this is the old one. Or was it inputs? Probably inputs, yes. And you can see quite a lot of them. So yeah, it's tidied. Oh. Okay, well, let's see what else could I show here.
Can you also show the service, example of the service?
Yes, let me just go back to it.
And the other question is, we have these pods up and running. What about like connectivity and traffic flow? There's right now no view of that, right?
Yeah, so actually vSync is started, so we can launch the Darkstat UI, but actually we wouldn't see anything there, because the packet again is not started yet and it doesn't send anything. And the same goes for vFirewall. So well, actually I can show you that it's possible to, let's say, access the CNF and well the network. Okay, I will dig down into it in a second. So first maybe this. Let me see just the IP address. This is the IP address of this QD. It's created. So this is this Darkstat of the first CNF, and we of course instantiated two ones, but the second is with a different node port. But well, of course, no traffic. And so yeah, so that's regarding the accessing the CNF. In terms of accessing if the network interconnectivity. So now it doesn't work, and I would need to check what's happening that it doesn't work. Scribe. I'm not sure if I'll be able to live fix it, but who knows. But I think I expect that it may be due to the maybe some nested virtualization issues on this lab, because I've never tried it. Okay, failed scheduling. So, or maybe the memory request is.
It said insufficient memory, I think.
Okay, how much memory do we have there?
You know,
yeah, right.
some of the bots are actually VMs, so it makes a lot of more memory need. So,
well,
just for demonstration purpose, that with the sorry, what was the
Virtlet. It was.
Yeah, used there. So.
Okay, but if it's just memory and if it fits in the lower limit, because I didn't pay much attention and just took such flavor, with bigger flavor probably we would have no issues. I will change live. Change it live. Okay, here it is. Let's hope that it will manage to fit into 1 gig. It's just there, right? No. Okay.
Oh, and if we could I see what's running in the ONAP cluster? So like
In OpenStack,
or how many components you have running just to get this whole POC working?
Okay, so well, basically, as it's SB00, I think it's every component that's running here, but in the documentation we've specified what, or maybe actually how would be better whole list. So in the documentation we've specified which components are necessary to reproduce this use case. We don't need to use all of them, but as I said, it's SB00, and I guess every single component is instantiated here, so that people can integrate and check whatever. So maybe let me, in the meantime, check this documentation. Well, home list should work, but if not, then let's try with kubectl get sts jobs. First like that. Okay, it's still.
Conrad, one clarification. The CNF use case, there are two types of use cases. One that's pure containers, and one that is deploying, VMs using Helm. The one you're showcasing right now, is it the one that has the two VMs and one container, or is it all containers, all the pods?
It's this hybrid one. So both VMs and containers. Well, we have some diagram here that illustrates it. So let me find it. I think we have it at least.
In the beginning.
In the beginning, okay. No. Okay, but I didn't mean this one. But well, it shows components, but basically maybe the list would be. But yeah, I think this diagram is great anyway to show. Well, maybe I'll send you the link to the docs on the chat so you can see, and in the meantime I'll search for where's the chat for what I wanted to find.
Yeah, the only thing this thing is missing is like ASDC, but other than that, it pretty much has all the runtime components.
Yeah, right. There is no SDC because it's already considering we're starting with Postman and the instantiation flow. So yes, right. But well, I think they are listed somewhere above. Let me find it. Okay, or if not, then we should have deployment components. Okay, here. So unless we've missed something, but I don't think so, these are all the components that are required for the use case. Let me just double check, but I think yes, it looks fine.
Just the k8s part of the multi-cloud, right? Not, you don't need all the other.
Yeah, no, only k8s.
I mean, well, only Kubernetes part of multi-cloud, but still we need this main part of multi-cloud, this main broker.
Which is taking the SDC artifacts, yes.
No. Actually, SDC artifacts are handled by Kubernetes, but this main broker handles the SO instantiation request and forwards it to Kubernetes plugin. So basically,
okay, yeah.
Let me show you.
Right, MSB, right?
Yes, and fortunately or not, MSB. Okay, multi-cloud. So from multi-cloud, so this is the multi-cloud Kubernetes sub Helm chart and the main multi-cloud. That's all that's relevant. This Azure okay, I'm not sure about FCAPS, but Azure, Pike, Starling X, and so on. So these are the plugins for the specific clouds, and well, we don't use them. We use just this plugin for Kubernetes. And as for this environment, so I can make this list of all the deployments, maybe also config maps and services, and send you if you want to see what was there. But it's SB00 plain, so there's nothing. I think that's every component is on this lab, so it will be well.
So you need the main multi-cloud and you need the k8s part of it. But do you need MSB or no?
We need it.
Okay.
Well, it's probably also listed, yes. So, well, actually, somebody made the description of brief or not, but the description of what is actually is it used for. So MSB exposes multi-cloud interfaces, and multi-cloud we have the Kubernetes plugin part and also this main part. The robot is optional as it's seen here because so far we don't leverage it for any automation, and it can be used just for health check. Well,
The MSB is required because the communication between the SO and the multi-cloud is through the MSB, but the CDS communicates with the plugin directly, if I remember well.
yes, and also SDC distribution doesn't utilize MSB at all, so it's just a proxy. Okay, MSB is also used for health checks by robot, but that's a minor thing.
Is there a plan, Lucas? I thought that we want this SO to use multi-cloud as a plugin as directly, right? Bypassing
Yeah.
everything?
So
Okay.
this is one of the plans for the next release, however, not yet confirmed, right?
Right. Okay, very good.
Okay, it looks like the correction of the memory claim helped, so let me correct the vpacket again as well. I'll just need to ensure to pick the correct one, so it's this one, I think. I never edited it live, but I guess it should work afterwards. We'll see. Oh, sorry. I didn't actually check one thing, but I should be able to see it in config maps. Hopefully there's, or maybe even in the deployment. So well. Oh, it started quite fast, but well, nevertheless, it started, but it needs a moment to install everything. But anyway, well, once we have them at least running, even if this scripts for being a packet gen and firewall didn't boot up yet, I can show you that we can actually leverage now this SSH access, for example, via this service. The command was nothing magic, but let's see if it will still work. So I need to ensure what was the password to the pod, so I'll have to take a look into the Helm charts. I left it there as a comment. So it's okay. Password is test user and user is admin. Okay. So the IP here. The IP of the Kubernetes node is 30,000 and couldn't resolve host. Okay, maybe SSH didn't boot up yet. That also happens sometimes. If not, we can actually see by attaching to. So this is well the typical way how to access. '61 that has exposed, right? 61. Okay, let me check one more thing before. Okay, great. So once again. I'll just see if SSH is already started. Yes, it did. So it should work. Let me see once again. Sorry. Touch. Okay. So. SSH. What's wrong with this host name? Okay, so SSH is working, but something doesn't resolve host name. Okay, maybe port is okay. Probably I should specify ports this way, but -p. That's right. So you can see that the SSH service that was spawned for the second VM that was templated via, well, was in the templated profile. It works, and we can access the VM via SSH via exposed node-put service. So well, that's fine. We can check if the network flows already. It's not yet. I'm afraid it may be due to some bug, but if so, then I'm not sure if I'll manage to fix it quickly. So basically, there was some issue in, okay, I have it in my docs somewhere. I've corrected this issue, but I'm not sure if it came in finally or not. So it's yeah, this stuff. So basically, there is this IPAM IP pool in SDNC database, and at least it used to have bad prefix. Probably it didn't get updated. I will need to check it, but for now I'll just log in there and correct, because if it happens to have this wrong network prefix, the whole network goes into the routing hell and doesn't reach the network it has to. So it's a typo in SDNC, but quite tragic in result.
Oh, what? You didn't create a Jira for this? We should fix it.
Yes, I created a Jira and I've already submitted a fix for it under it, and it was merged, but well, I don't know if
Maybe this is not. It didn't get picked up, but I think we should double check just to make sure.
yeah. So
What was your catch, Conrad, for that?
well, I need to find it. Sorry. So
Okay.
but it was something like a month ago, so I think it should be picked up. Anyway,
it depends which version of the Docker.
Right, because I want to make sure it was also cherry picked. If it wasn't master, it was a cherry pick. Just verify it.
Sure. So let me find myself somehow, and it was SDNC. Yes, this guy. So I will send you the ticket over the chat so you can check. I hope it was. Well, it was merged for sure, but maybe it wasn't included. So as you can see, there is this IPAM data dump, and it contains the wrong network prefix. I mean, different than in the netbox. So, and as you can see, this is much broader. So, if such interface is added, then it goes to routing hell, and no packet is flowing where it should. Well, I think the easiest one.
I remember that one.
Okay.
I remember that one. I don't remember if I merged it, but I'll take a look.
So anyway, I can fix it on ad hoc to check. do? Not here. Oh, here it is. So, well, I will check first. Yes, so, well, is it correct? No, it's incorrect. So let's make some hacking as usual. So, well, I'll create a new instance if you don't mind, but presumably I will delete the ones we already have because the SKUD is too small to handle so many. So if you don't mind, I will delete the existing ones. Okay. Guys?
Sounds good.
Okay. So, well, let's see if I have. Well, I'm not really sure if I have the correct source of the delete request, but I think it demands quite too many information to be working correctly, but nevertheless, let's hope it will work. So I'll delete just this oldest one and create it again. I could actually remove also this even earlier one, but let me just check I would need to find the ID of it. So maybe not now. It's too much of a hassle. Okay. Well, it didn't went well enough. Did it at least remove stuff? No. Okay, so I will go with a bit more harsh approach, but for the purpose of having everything done faster, I hope you'll forgive me for it. So I'll remove the instances directly in Kubernetes plugin, so we'll have a free place to instantiate stuff. So here I have the script that takes the first ID from the listed instances, and then I take this ID for deleting. Okay, so it's done. Let me make the second instantiation once again. Well, I could actually provide the memory limit corrected in the instantiation request, but well, let's leave it now without it. I'll hack it manually. At least now it was quite fast, so. Okay, so they started. I bet they have correct network now, but let's see, for example, with this SSH, if the instantiation, I mean, if the VM is fully set up yet. I think it takes like 2 to 5 minutes in order to host again. So probably it still installs. Give him a few minutes. Check if we really have the. If we have the service. Yes, we have the service. It's still sport. Okay, that's fine. So let's try. Almost perfect. Almost perfect. Let's see. Okay, it's due to the host non-host conflict. So so let's hope we will see something in Darkstat now. This one is destroyed already. Not yet, but maybe it's still installing. Let me check the. Let's check the firewall. Yes, it still is in the cloud init phase because it was, or wasn't it? Cannot allocate memory. Okay, I get. Probably we need more actually memory to have this whole use case working. This limiting to 1 gigabit was a bit of an overstatement, I guess. I would need to create a QD with a bigger VM to host it, and then I think the use case would be usable. So I guess this is the error from this whole scripts. Well, this tool of vPacketGen and vFirewall. Oh, quite a lot of stuff here. No, actually, it's still cloud init. Okay, so well, let's give it a few minutes. Maybe it will finally finish. In the meantime, I'll also get this ticket and save it myself so I can later search if it was actually merged or not. So well, because we don't provide any custom image, we reuse some default images from the public repository and then download all the scripts and install all the stuff there. So the VM, even when it's downloaded, it's still at the runtime. Well, it's basically the maybe not flow, but the design of this use case, and of course can be made better. But well, it's this as it is. So let's wait for it. Let's see. Anything happened? Well, anyway, in the meantime, I can check for this graph because I think I've drawn it and it was included to documentation of how the network communication is actually working in this use case. Oh yeah, I have it as well. It's maybe not the prettiest picture, but it shows stuff. So basically the network connectivity between all the pods we have. So this sync pod that is a container and this firewall and packet again, which are VMs inside, is handled via custom OVN networks that are created as Kubernetes resources. We create the unprotected and protected network, and the whole network is passed through them, not via the typical Kubernetes network that is used for the shared communication between pods. So, well, it's a bit maybe overcomplicated, but it shows some different approach, and that's why we need to require Kubernetes with some additional plugins, because both we need to spawn VMs, so we need Virtlet for it. We need to have multiple interface on a pod, so we are also installing Multus add-on in QD, and the OVN for NFV add-on allows creating such OVN networks that interconnect, that can be used to interconnect pods with them. So, well, that's my description I wanted to show. What's up with this guy? Okay, it's still thinking. But anyway, he still shouts that can't allocate memory, so I'm not sure if it will finally turn out good or not. Okay, cloud init for vFirewall has been finished. We can check the same for vPacket again. Let's see for a moment if... Well, I'm not sure if it will work because of this memory constraints, but we can wait a few more minutes and see.
Tim, any other questions on the deployment of the Helm charts to Conrad? Very good.
Oh, we don't need a tiller, right?
Yes, we don't need a tiller because all the Helm logic, I mean, all the Helm libraries are within Kubernetes plugin already. So the managed Kubernetes doesn't need to have tiller.
Just maybe a bit summary. Maybe this is still not yet the final solution, more perhaps still like the POC, but we have much more automation than in the Dublin or Alto release for this deployment of the CNFs. So the use of the CDS, the automation of the profile upload, possibility to instantiate with the same Helm package many instances, and possibility to model, let's say, the VNF, the CNF, decomposing it into different Helm packages. So I think, to summarize, these are the biggest changes we have for the Frankfurt release in comparison to the previous ones.
Okay, I guess the very best proof that everything worked, I'm unable to show to you. But if you don't mind, I can make later on spin up a second QD with a bit bigger instance and then try it again there and see if it will spin up, and then I can send you the URL you can check on the...
Yeah, that would be nice, Conrad.
Okay, so I'll just note it down so that I won't forget. But
Yeah, overall, this was awesome.
okay, thanks. So well, do you have any more questions regarding this?
Or maybe suggestions on what should be further changed to make it better. This, I think, can be also important for the purpose of the planning of the release.
I would say that MC plugin with SO communication, I think that's something we definitely want in the G release, and then we want to see how we can make this more native orchestration, and and make sure that the ANI data is providing some good feedback. And probably status, Lucas. We want to see if we can get some status around, where the Kubernetes pods are, so this way ONAP can provide that view as well, right? You don't need to log into the Kubernetes itself to kind of check the status of the pods.
Okay.
And I think when we're capturing the data in ANI, the question is whether we should capture the assignments before we capture what has been instantiated, just like we're doing today, so that we know that what has been assigned has been instantiated. So, but that will require SO or SDNC or CDS to. We have to know what's been assigned. Okay, we have to pause and capture what is been assigned. So that's a question if we need that, or once everything is instantiated, we just kind of load it into ANI.
Well, in order to do that, perhaps SO will have to understand deeply on what is in the Helm package, right?
Yeah, that's quite it's not easy.
I also am not sure if ANI schema shouldn't be updated because we can have a bit of difference between what we requested and what we can finally have. For example, we can have a deployment, but we will have three pods out of it, and the number of pods can change, but still it will be the same deployment. And so, well, that's a bit more dynamic with Kubernetes and CNFs. So I don't know. Probably it would require a bit of tuning.
Yeah. So how would the operator know that what has been assigned is not what was instantiated, or?
Well, for that we can use the operator pattern to know exactly what was, or rather to have the information from this operator, whether the CNF was instantiated properly or not, right? But it means that some extra custom logic needs to be in each CNF, which will provide this information, for instance, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry guys, but I have to leave now. So if you have any more questions, I'll update the email as I said with the JSON and so on in about a half an hour. I need to now jump out of the office for a moment, and we'll update everything back then. So if you have any further questions, you can reach me or Łukasz. And well, at least now I'm leaving, but Łukasz I guess stays, so he can answer further questions.
Somebody also.
Okay, so thanks and bye guys.
Thanks, Conrad.
Thanks, Conrad. This is amazing.
Yeah, thanks.
Hey, Lucas, can we follow up with Ophir as well on that? What I think that one of the next things we want to do is just a retry of deploying the Caesar file without any workarounds, right?
Yeah. I wrote just to Ophir with question marks which images, SDC images, are behind the latest changes. Yes, so to be sure we can then repeat this without this workarounds which Conrad was forced to do today, right?
Right. But everything else, I think, is in order, right? From an orchestration perspective, we fixed a bunch of CBA items. So we fixed the
Yeah,
head charts. Even the
general.
heat we fixed as well, right? We kind of simplified the properties that were present in the heat.
Well, this heat, whatever we have in the heat is irrelevant. Only is required to pass the SDC validation constraints, right? So this is the minimum thing required for heat, but the heat is not relevant in here at all. We don't need to have any parameters there and so on.
Yep. And anything, I think that's about it. So very productive meeting, very good meeting. Any other feedback, team? If not, let's end the call. I'll send out the recording. I'll post it on YouTube and send out the link to the YouTube. So everyone, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Thank you.
Anyway.